Age 95. Clint Eastwood lives like a 30s man. He gets up at 5 a.m. most days. He undertakes an exercise that may gasp young sportsmen. He may then climb into his own chopper and skim the California shoreline. He tells friends not to organize birthday parties since he hates them. Buying another enormous house because it looked great was his latest purchase. His kids joke they can't keep up with him. At birth, nurses called Clint Sampson because he weighed over 11 pounds. He grew up in rich Piedmont, California, where his parents owned 2 automobiles, swam in their pool, and joined a country club. His mother's family line began on the Mayflower. Many fans believed Clint came from a difficult background, yet his cowboy persona was partially an act he created to survive in Hollywood. School was hard for Clint. He failed a junior high grade and had to retake. Teachers at Oakland Technical High pushed him to join drama club because of his talent. He ignored them to fix cars and hang out with girls instead of doing homework. Some classmates believed he never graduated. He had one significant hint that he might be an artist: piano. He memorized difficult classical pieces till his fingers hurt. His later cinematic music benefited from that approach. Clint didn't rush to Hollywood after high school, started with risky jobs. He guided enormous logs down Oregon rivers. One mistake could kill. Then he was enlisted for Korean War service. He earned extra money lifeguarding and breaking up bar fights at Fort Ord. He was on a Navy jet that crashed at Point Reyes in 1951. Over 2 kilometers, Clint swam to shore in shark-filled water. The escape from Alcatraz escape scene was filmed using that memory. A little role in 1955's low-budget monster film Revenge of the Creature launched his acting career. He earned $75 per week as an anxious lab assistant. With 15 takes for Clint's key shot, the director nearly eliminated the sequence. Universal Studios terminated his contract after 18 months. Executives felt his Adam's apple was too huge, his speech was too sluggish, and his chipped tooth he wouldn't fix made him screen unfriendly. "At least I can learn to act," Burt Reynolds joked after being fired that day. You can't hide Adam's apple. Clint won the day when he returned as a millionaire. His major break was accidental. A CBS executive saw Clint in the cafeteria when he was talking to an NBC story editor. Tall stranger's rough posture stood noticed. A screen test for Rawhide's Rowdy Yates followed that quick glimpse. The man the studio called too slow became a national sensation overnight. Rawhide reached America's top 20 TV series in 3 weeks. Though juvenile, Rowdy was appreciated by the audience. By the last season, Clint's income rose from $750 to over $100,000 each episode, despite 6 days of desert heat shooting. Directors joked that Clint always arrived late, so they never put him in the first scene. After 6 seasons, Clint felt confined. A mysterious Italian director named Sergio Leone offered. Bob Robertson wanted Clint to star in a low-budget Spanish Western. Famous actors Henry Fonda and James Coburn had declined the offer due to low remuneration. Clint accepted because he thought no one in the U.S. would watch the film if it failed. He went to Spain without Italian and Lyon without English. They used hand gestures and translators. The film A Fistful of Dollars transformed Clint. His gunslinger costume was designed by him. Bleached black pants, repurposed rawhide boots and belts, located a scuffed hat at a second-hand shop, bought a poncho from Madrid, and utilized stubby cigars for the character's squint. He thought the gunman would appear more dangerous if he spoke little. Even though critics said Clint looked like wood, viewers agreed the silent stranger became a legend. The spaghetti western trilogy grossed $84 million worldwide on a $2 million budget. Criticism didn't matter to audiences. Clint Eastwood arrived. While critics rolled their eyes, ticket buyers lined up, so Clint continued. His early 1970s search was for a part that would break him out of westerns and establish him as a modern leading man. The Nasty Dirty Harry script was circulating around Hollywood, but every major celebrity died. Frank Sinatra initially signed on but left because Magnum was too hefty due to an old hand injury. John Wayne refused because he hated leftover roles. The tough cop story was done in Bullet, according to Steve McQueen. Even risk-taker Paul Newman declined. He gave Clint the screenplay and said, "This looks like you." Clint took it. He hired Don Siegel and introduced Malpaso, his production firm. He used harsh brutality and sparse language. "Do you feel lucky?" Inspector Harry Callahan hissed, gasping audiences. The film made 10 times its budget and spawned 4 sequels. Clint embodied a new urban action cinema genre overnight. He signed for Every Photograph But Loose in 1978, a radical change. Fistfighting trucker with Clyde the orangutan was career suicide. Friends advised him. Clint trusted instinct. Buddy comedy won over $100 million, breaking box office records. Families gathered to witness Clint robbed for bananas by a naughty Primus, despite critics' grumbles. A sequel, Any Which Way You Can, boosted ticket sales even further. Hollywood's happy animal tale conceals a tragedy. Years later, rumors circulated that Clyde's trainer beat the monkey to death after filming. Clint raged about the story. Clint has never shied away from danger, even though the damage was done. He shot The Eiger Sanction, a 1975 thriller about a former assassin climbing Europe's deadly North Face. A professional climber was murdered by tumbling boulders early in production. Although the crash startled everyone, Clint, who was directing, continued. His feats included dangling from cliffs thousands of feet high with minimal safety ropes. He risked his life daily at 44 because he believed viewers could feel genuineness in it. His adventurous spirit sprang from his Army days when he escaped the ocean disaster. He was bold enough to say no as well as jump. He turned down Superman in the late 1970s. He believed a tight outfit and cape didn't suit him. At the same time, the James Bond franchise privately assessed his interest in an American 7 to revitalize the series. Clint shook his head. He knew spectators perceived him as a rough-edged loner, not a tuxedo spy. These choices saved him from parts that could have ruined his tough image. Next, Clint went full-time behind the camera. In 1971, he directed Play Misty for Me, a scary stalker story after directing one Rawhide episode in the 1960s for practice. Clint saved $50,000 by wrapping early, unlike most first-time directors. He shot in and around Carmel, his seaside hometown, using real pubs, roads, and the radio station. He personally convinced Roberta Flack to license The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face for $2,000. The film's success helped the song top charts. Clint was lauded for his cool direction. He whispered trusted actors and printed the first take because it felt alive. To circumvent studio interference, he and advisor Irving Leonard founded Malpaso Productions in 1967. Malpaso Creek near Clint's land and an agent's scathing warning that Italian westerns were awful inspired the name. Clint bought hundreds of creekside acres with that bad step money and used Malpaso as a shield. From then on, Clint reworked scripts that failed. If a studio refused, Clint provided funding. His renowned 1 or 2 take rule was implemented. New actors learned quickly. If you botched your lines, the camera may be moving on. Clint was 62 in 1992 and ready to face the West again. The cutting script sat unclaimed for years. Clint acquired it early, aged it like wine, and dubbed it Unforgiven. The story of an aged gunslinger driven back into savagery fit Eastwood. To honor mentors Lyon and Siegel, he included them in the credits. 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Director, went to Unforgiven. Despite a low budget, box office exceeded $150 million. The cowboy genre was revived, and Clint was confirmed as a great filmmaker. Clint explored darker, current stories with his new regard. He directed Mystic River, a slow-burning drama of childhood pain, murder, and remorse in 2003. His camera work was straightforward and unflashy. Audiences focused on natural motion. Sean Penn and Tim Robbins won Oscars for their powerful performances. Reviews immediately praised Clint as one of America's most precise storytellers, not merely a director. He risked more with Million Dollar Baby the following year. Studios hesitated because the script addressed assisted suicide, which they considered box office poison. Eastwood played a tough boxing trainer opposite Hilary Swank. Warner Brothers secretly released the film on few cinemas. Word spread quickly. Audiences cried. Critics gushed. It swept the Academy Awards and made over $200 million globally. His predictions were spot on when Clint, 74, won Best Picture and Best Director again. Clint's 2008 Gran Torino stunned industry watchers who expected him to slow down. Played Walt Kowalski, angry Korean war vet befriends Hmong neighbors reluctantly. The role evoked Dirty Harry, older, angrier, and dangerous. This low-budget film grossed $270 million and was one of Clint's biggest hits. The harsh humor and ultimate sacrifice of Walt touched fans. Eastwood might star in a global blockbuster aged nearly 80. All this achievement came from Clint's distinctive working approach. Never shouted, action. The word shocked him, especially when horses bolted during Western scenes. Instead, he whispered, "Anytime you're ready." Tom Hanks remembered Clint murmuring, "That's enough," after an emotional sequence. Crew moved on. Settings were calm, budgets stayed cheap, and natural first takes often made the cut. Clint had a patchwork of relationships and secret children behind Hollywood lights. Laurie Murray's revelation that Clint was her biological father shocked them. However, they rapidly became close. Family holidays and golf outings replaced lost decades. Kimber Tunis, his daughter with stuntwoman Roxanne Tunis, knew Clint quietly. Years of uneasy concealment between Kimber's mother and Clint's wife Maggie. In 1989, partner Sandra Locke returned home to discover their house transformed. She sued, alleging Clint dumped her after 14 years. He promised her a Warner Brothers development agreement that fell through. Locke sued again for fraud, and the argument got nasty. Clint's private dealings making headlines. They settled softly and never spoke. Flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves reared Scott and Catherine Eastwood in Hawaii, distant from Hollywood. Their birth certificates didn't list Clint. Sandra Locke was stunned to learn Clint fathered 2 children during their affair in 1990 when tabloids revealed the truth. Scott and Catherine now discuss their convoluted family tree as adult actors. Catherine went online to threaten legal action over inheritance concerns, revealing how old secrets still cause conflict. At his Mission Ranch Hotel in Carmel, Clint met cheerful hostess Christina Sandero in 2014. They quietly walked dogs on the beach and helped Christina with her equestrian hobbies and Halpies endured too. She brought consistent joy, family stated. Heart attack killed her suddenly in 2024, devastating Clint. As usual in sadness, he made a brief, sincere statement and returned to work. Clint enjoys grandfatherhood despite loss. He cheers loudest at Little League and school plays, according to daughter Francesca. He feels silly around young parents but doesn't care. Formerly distant, the father now gives ice cream and silly counsel. The man who marked instructions on dusty sets softened with age. The thriller Juror Number 2, about a juror who finds he caused the deadly crash at the trial, was hammered by Clint at 95. Some called it his final film. However, reports circulated that he had booked performers and staff for another. Clint avoids retirement conversation. He also skips birthday cakes. Daughter Allison says he bans surprise gatherings. His preferred position is behind a camera to blowing candles. In 2024, a Clint YouTube interview vanished without unexpectedly sparking criticism. Clint blasted political correctness and modern Hollywood, therefore Warner Brothers withdrew the video, the host said. Fans demanded censorship. Others suspected contract difficulties. Clint kept quiet, letting conjecture die. He never chased social media storms. He lets finished films speak for him. Clint Eastwood is known for his dedication to work over noise. From rejected contract player to Oscar-winning director, silent gunslinger to loving grandfather continues going. Clint puts on sneakers, lifts weights, and proves the toughest cowboy still rides every morning at 5 when most kids sleep in. Clint jokes that motion is his medicine when asked how he keeps going. A simple breakfast, plain yogurt, fruit, and a small spoon of protein powder start most mornings. He's lacing up boots for a Sunrise Ranch walk after 40 minutes. The Mission Ranch in Carmel symbolizes his second life away from Hollywood. Clint saw the rundown dairy farm in the 1980s, loved the pasture view, and acquired it before developers bulldozed it. He converted barns into cottages, fixed the restaurant, and kept sheep grazing in fields so guests could have coffee while bleating lambs roamed. He walks the patio at night, casually meeting tourists who often look surprised when they find the owner is their waiter refilling water cups. Clint avoids Hollywood despite his constant return to Los Angeles for work. The Academy invites him to black tie award banquets every year, but he rarely attends. He likes caramel crew and firefighter preview screenings to red carpet debuts. He skipped lavish parties and flew home to feed his dog when American Sniper premiered. Even his property purchases indicate his restlessness. He bought a huge weathered ranch outside Boise, Idaho in 2022 because he enjoyed fall cottonwoods. He has modest rooms for crew personnel during location reconnaissance. Clint may have more post-production suites and barns than Warner Brothers on the lot, one producer quipped. Once averse to school books, he devours biographies. His trailer shelves have thick Teddy Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Thelonious Monk books. Crew workers say he'll read a chapter between camera setups and quote patience or grit during lunch. He sometimes finishes meals with a glass of red wine and practices piano the night before big antics. The same fingers that scraped log bark and organ play a jazz piece he learned at 16. Despite his hardiness, Clint is risk-averse about birthdays and cake. Allison says she tried to surprise him with an 85th birthday party. Large banner, balloons, etc. After entering, he thanked everyone, hugged them, and left through a side door. After 10 minutes, he was driving down Highway 1 with the windows down, listening to old blues recordings. Family members now follow a basic rule. Don't plan parties. Sign a card and give it quietly. He maintains a little recording recorder on his office shelf behind the legend. Reporters use the 1980s model. Clint writes down thoughts one sentence at a time when inspired. Room empty, carnival empty. The picture of an old guy hearing music on a scratch tape inspired a screenplay outline. Younger Malpaso authors transcribe and construct screenplays from those notes. A 95-year-old can brainstorm at his own pace as a fresh generation creates the scenarios. Clint corrects false claims of fearlessness. I fear Lot says, sharks in 1951, stunts 1974, computers 1997. But terror guides him. He accepts nervous projects like directing Iwo Jima letters in Japanese. That's how film students learn, he tells them at his annual Carmel Ranch workshops. A final Eastwood rule. Rely on instinct. A frame note hangs above his writing desk. Read run with the first decent idea. Another is beneath that faded pen line. Don't waste time on perfection. Those words were written during the frenetic Dirty Harry shoot 50 years ago. Still govern his every decision. Clint has endured public scrutiny for decades by remaining silent and moving forward. In late 2024, the YouTube interview regarding jury number 2 vanished unexpectedly, sparking internet speculations. Some fans said Warner Brothers pulled it because Clint condemned cancel culture and political correctness. Others think the takedown was a trailer footage contract error. Clint remained silent. He spent the week editing a stressful courtroom scene. After the studio issued a boilerplate rights clearance statement, the furor subsided. Proof that silence is sometimes best. Newcomers are surprised by his one-take policy on set. Juror N2 actress Chi Palmer entered her first scene expecting unlimited coverage. Clint whispered, "Go when ready," saw the actor finish and remarked, "Got it." Crew struck lights. Palmer blinked, assuming he was practicing. Clint nodded and continued. He expressed his reasoning over coffee. "Your audience doesn't count takes. The energy is felt. Takes life first. No need to kill it. Laziness never characterized this simplified procedure. Respecting everyone's time. Clint sets end early, so Morgan Freeman joked, "You can still have dinner with your family." Savings go back to bolder scripts. After studios balked at its difficult finale, $1 Million Baby was greenlit. Clint delivered on his rapid, inexpensive shooting promise. However, efficiency has limits. After Brandon Lee's horrific onset dying years earlier made sure American Sniper had perfect rifle safety. Crews recall him triple-checking prop firearms. He warned the armorer. He was responsible for any mishaps. Authentic battle scenes without undue risk were praised in the film. Clint's kids no longer worry about him slowing down. Nearing 90, Scott assumed his dad might retire the bullhorn. 1 month later, Clint called him at morning. "We're surveying snow roads, bring warm clothes. Writing stories is still important to Clint." He told a UCLA masterclass that ideas stop chasing you when you stop. Industry friends say his next picture may be his last. However, following Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, and Gran Torino, those whispers returned. Clint keeps surprising them. In private, he jokes that keeping the heart occupied and mouth mostly shut prolongs life. He has survived critical acclaim, studio rejections, and personal scandals with this technique. From above, Clint's life is a map of perpetual reinvention. A affluent Piedmont adolescent turned grease-stained mechanic. Former contract player becomes Western icon. Aging star became Oscar-winning director. He avoided easy labels, refuses superhero capes, and lets screen stillness shout louder than speeches. Designer tuxedos and sealed garment bags are still less appealing to him than a faded poncho in his closet. Eastwood's daily routine shows energy in his mid-90s. Rise early, move often, eat light, learn, soar over familiar landscapes to find new angles, listen more than you command, and never waste a good first take. He proves purpose can last longer than celebrity. Clint shows those feeling limited by age that new chapters await beyond retirement. He learned to fly helicopters at 58, conduct entire symphonic compositions at 65, direct foreign-language war epics at 76, and headline a top 10 global smash at 78. At 95, he wakes up early to shoot, write, and catch another sunrise over Carmel's fog-covered cliffs. The toughest Hollywood cowboy rides until then, teaching us that limitations are often imagined. Clint Eastwood will prove that borrowed time can extend farther than anyone thought imaginable as long as he has breath, curiosity, and confidence.